Hey guys, today I'm going to be analyzing the song Wake Me Up When September Ends by Green Day. This song has two different stories behind it, and I would like to discuss it in this analysis of the song. One story is particular to the singer and writer of the song himself, Billy Joe Armstrong of Green Day. And then there is the problem that the nation faced during 2004, which is a social problem, and it was a very popular topic at the time because it was so devastating to many people. Um, the first reason that this song was made was because of Billy Joe Armstrong's father dying of cancer, of esophagus cancer, whenever Billy Joe Armstrong was 10. The story behind it, according to a, an article on a glimpse of music.com, was saying that whenever Billy Joe heard about his father's cancer, that's whenever he felt lost and he turned to music for like a way to cope with everything. And then it progressed even more and more so that he became more talented, but it's all due to the fact that he was just trying to keep his mind off of things. And then came later, whenever his father had actually passed away, and then he was told to speak at his funeral, and whenever he was told to speak, he panicked. As a 10-year-old, he panicked and went back to his house, and which was a couple, maybe like a mile or two down from where the funeral home was at the time, in Rodeo, California, and he was he locked himself in his room, and his mother came back to check up on him and knocked on his door and asked if he was all right, and his only response to her was "Wake me up when September ends," because that is the month of the funeral, and that's whenever his dad passed away. Um, then there's another analysis, which actually is shown from the song's music video, which you should be able to have a clickable link on right about here. Um, there, there was a topic of Americans going into the Iraq War during 2004, after the September 11th attacks. September 11th, like no when September ends, they both had. That's the reason for the title itself, in another sense, because it was Americans slowly getting over the tragedy of 9/11 after a couple years after its event, and then moving all these young kids who are about 18, 19 years old into Iraq to fight the next war, and it was devastating. It was a big social issue at the time, and many people were panicked, many people were scared, and also this was the time during Hurricane Katrina, which devastated many people and took away many people's homes and many of their loved ones, and it was really a time of emergency, and this song represents the feelings that people had of hopelessness, but they all banded together to want to be able to get through it and then be able to live their lives successfully after this in happiness and just praying that they can get through such difficult times. Now, this song uses a bunch of different poetic devices in it, actually. Um, one part of the song is that it's a ballad, and as you can see from this paper, hopefully a little bit, um, it is a ballad in its entirety because a ballad is talking about like death. It is talking about a person in particular, about and ends in tragedy, which both of these events really are, because on one story it's about his dad dying, and then on the other story it's about all this damage and death done by the Iraq War, 9/11, and Hurricane Katrina, which makes it a ballad. And then, which also brings me to show that it's actually an elegy, because it explains, especially in the first two stanzas, um, where Billy Joe mentions, "Summer has come to pass, the innocent can never last. Waking up when September ends, like my father's come to pass. 7 years has gone so fast. Waking up when September ends." Right there, that is talking about his father's death, which he was reflecting on this 7 years later, whenever he was 17 and Green Day first formed, and he was just saying about how life can change so drastically and so quickly, and that whenever you look back on it, it really wasn't that long ago that you felt so terrible and so insecure about what life brings. And then uh, it also uses a couple quatrains. As you can see here, there are 4 lines in the stanza, and they read, "Here comes the rain again, falling from the stars, drenched in my pain again, becoming who we are." This is referring to like another problem is coming down, like it's getting worse, and then it's as though he can't get himself out of the depression or the hatred, and try he's explaining how it's all forming him into the person he is, which also in that quatrain is a great demonstration of rhyme. Even though there is rhyme throughout the entire song, that is a great use of it because again and began rhyme, and also stars and R. They both have that same rhythmic sound to them. And also, summer has come to pass, the innocent can never last. In the beginning of some of these stanzas, those also rhyme, which is also a great demonstration. Um, oh yes, it is also a narrative, explaining because it is explaining the life events that happened to Billy Joe and his family, and how it involves the death of a loved one or a character, which includes his father and all of the people that suffered due to the Iraq War and 9/11. So really, there are tons of different reasons why this song has a bunch of emotional meaning behind it, because it pertains to the singer himself, and as well as the people of this nation during this time of great distress. Also, there is a lot of social problems being discussed here because of the 9/11 attacks, the Iraq War, and Hurricane Katrina, because it was talking about it explains the mental impact that this had on Americans during this time, and actually not even Americans, all around the world. So it's really expressing the emotions that most people felt, and the ways of thinking that many people were, and hoping to get past it in the future, because it certainly wasn't a time to just sit around and forget about it. People were trying to work together to fix things, and that's really being brought out within the song. Politically, that is explained with the Iraq War people, because people complain about how having another war, of course, was very detrimental to our society, and bringing in all these young kids to go fight in another country was really hard to take for most people, and they definitely felt that everything everything about it was wrong, and they hope that there could be change within the future. And personally, obviously, Billy Joe Armstrong's dad was the center of his personal perspective on the song. He wrote it in his honor because he really looked up to his father. I mean, he was a truck driver at the time, and they really didn't get to spend much time together. And I think that he has regretted it, and that he really didn't get to spend any time with his father, and that's why he feels like the way he does, like because he's very emotional. I mean, it's his dad, so this song really does have a personal impact and brings on his emotions entirely throughout the entire song. Well, yes, that is my analysis on "Waking Up When September Ends" by Green Day. I hope you enjoyed.